They broke rules. They broke down. But they never broke apart. This is TXT. TXT didn't debut with a sob story. No long survival show. No tragic past stitched into a trailer. Just vibes. Vivid, strange, sometimes surreal vibes. BigHit gave us BTS and then dropped TXT like a mysterious side project. It wasn't clear if they were meant to follow a legacy or burn it down. Their first appearance was confusing in the best way. Just 5 boys dropped into a pastel dream. Sharp choreography, surreal visuals, and strange little horns growing out of their heads. It didn't scream the next BTS. It whispered something weirder, something new. Some fans didn't see TXT as the next chapter in someone else's book. They saw them as a symbol of youth itself, of home. Some cheers for them, others doubts them. And from that came something no one expected. A new way to tell the same coming-of-age story, but with more dreams, more chaos, and more color. And that early refusal to copy set the tone for everything that followed. Debuting after BTS is like stepping onto a stage already on fire. People had their expectations locked in, but TXT had no interest in playing into that. Every TXT song feels like someone handing you a diary. Not everyone likes what they read. Puma had fans divided. It was darker, heavier, and more intense than anything TXT had done before. For some fans, it was a bold turning point. For others, it was jarring. Cat and Dog, on the other hand, was pure chaos in a different direction. With a cartoon trap beat, exaggerated bark sound effects, and lyrics about trading words for loyalty like a pet. Some MOAs loved its fearless absurdity and puppy love metaphor. Others weren't sure if it was genius or a fever dream. But even if it confused you, you couldn't look away. But through it all, one thing stayed true. TXT doesn't recycle. Every single return is a pivot, a risk, a confession wrapped in metaphors and motion sickness. They're one of the only groups who make apocalypse feel poetic. From day one, they played with symbolism. In Crown, the horn stood for the awkwardness of transformation. But fast forward to Can't You See Me, and the chaos hits harder. The house is burning. The friendships cracked. Nothing is safe anymore. And then came Eternally. Released in May 2020. Not a single, not a hype video, a full-on psychological trip. It jumps between realities, soft dream sequences glitch into horror and paranoia. Then suddenly, peace. Then fear again. The constant flip mirrors how unstable it feels to grow up. One second you think everything's fine. The next, your world's flipped upside down. Even their mirrors aren't normal. They're broken, twisted, reflective but never clear. Just like identity during your teenage years. Always changing, never still. TXT doesn't write typical love songs. They write love songs that feel like late-night DMs you never send. You've got Loser Lover. Channeling raw punk energy, like a late-night breakdown with guitars and sweat. It's loud, messy, emotional, just like being 19 and lost in your own head. Then there's Anti-Romantic.
Sorry, I'm an anti-romantic.
The total opposite. Cold, quiet, honest in a way that feels almost too close. The song 0 x 1 = Love Song breaks everything apart. Blending pop, rock, and chaos into one anthem for the emotionally destroyed. It shouldn't work, but it does, because the feeling is real. Then they take a total left turn with Sugar Rush Ride.
The devil said.
At first it feels dreamy, but then you catch the lyrics and it gets darker. Obsession, addiction, wanting something even when you know it's bad for you. By the time Chasing That Feeling dropped in October 2023, the sound had evolved again. Retro synths, nostalgic melodies. It felt like TXT looking back at all they'd been through and still running, still reaching, that craving to feel something again, something real. The constant genre switches aren't just for show, that is the identity. Their discography is a patchwork of genre shifts and risky experiments, and it deserves a spotlight of its own. And behind the chaos of that success, were 5 boys still trying to understand themselves. No one in TXT is the same. Subin doesn't lead from the front, he leads from the center, quietly holding the group together while they stretch in 5 different directions. Because as TXT's concepts get more layered, his calm presence keeps it all grounded. He's the emotional compass, the one who reminds you what it means to stay soft in a world that keeps asking you to toughen up. Yunjin has grown into the role of a creative shapeshifter, switching from punk energy and good boy gone bad to delicate emotion and back for more without losing the thread. He's not just performing anymore, he's steering, co-directing TXT's visual direction and pushing their styling into bold new territory. Byungyu brings that beautiful unpredictability. You can see it in his songwriting and hear it in the way his voice bends through emotional extreme. With each comeback, he feels more like the group's wild card, less polished, more personal. Huining Kai, the Maknae. His tone has matured into this bittersweet core that shows up in songs like Deep Down and Happily Ever After. He gives TXT that balance between innocence and experience. Taehyun is the foundation, sharp with vocals, sharper with instinct. He's the kind of artist who understands not just how something should sound, but why it needs to feel a certain way. It doesn't always feel clean, but it always feels real. TXT isn't 5 pieces of a puzzle. They're 5 variables in constant reaction. And yet, when they perform, they lock in. For a group that started in the shadow, TXT's trophy case tells a different story. They've swept rookie awards across every major Korean award show. Melon, Mama, Golden Disc. They've taken home Bonsangs, and more than once. Their albums consistently top the GON and Oricon charts, showing impact both at home and in Japan. In the West, they're just as loud. They became the first 4th-gen group to perform at Lollapalooza. They've won at the MTV EMAs and scored #1 on Billboard's World Albums. Every award became a checkpoint of how far 5 boys, creative, relentless boys from BigHit, have pushed the boundaries. Yet there's always been this weird gap around TXT. People know they're good, but they don't always know what to do with them. They're not loud like other 4th-gen groups. Their variety moments are more subtle. Their humor is deadpan. It's easy to underestimate them until you fall in. Their loyal fans noticed. They saw the growth, the confidence. They remember when TXT's V-Lies were awkward and full of pauses. Now they're standing on massive stages with full control. TXT doesn't always scream for attention, but somehow the people who needed them heard them anyway. And maybe that's what makes the fandom so loud. They're not cheering for a brand. They're cheering for boys they watched figure it out in real time. But constantly changing comes at a cost. The truth is, constant evolution is exhausting. TXT reinvents themselves so often, it's a miracle they still feel like the same group. But maybe that's the point. They don't want to stay still. They'd rather keep falling forward than become a brand. Not every experiment works. Some songs don't stick. Some MVs get overlooked. But TXT never gives you something they don't believe in. And that honesty, it bleeds into everything they do. Even the missteps feel meaningful, because it means they're still trying. This is why their story matters. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. You don't just watch TXT, you grow with them. And every stumble, every win, every comeback, it all leads back to 5 boys who never stopped choosing music, choosing pain, and choosing each other. These are the things fans remember just as much as the music. The in-between moments, the things that aren't supposed to matter, but do. Because that's where TXT stops being an idol group and starts being real people. Not products, not projections. Just 5 artists trying to figure it out, with us watching, feeling, growing right beside them. In a K-pop industry obsessed with domination, TXT doesn't just play the game. They twist it into something stranger, not for clout, but because the easy answers never fit them. because they're still growing, because they're still scared, because they're still in love with the idea that maybe that art means more when it risks something. They're not perfect. We are not perfect. But nonetheless, we stick together as we always do, and they always come back with new sounds, new risks, new stages, even when it hurts. TXT dared to be bold. Will you?